Hello. So today I want to talk about litter. Um, there's a song, and it is by Ricky Dillard, and it's called "The Lifter of My Head." And there's a scripture in Psalms 121, and it starts with 1. It says, I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills, from which cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. So, in times of trouble, at times we tend to put our head down. A lot of times we walk in shame. A lot of times we walk in hurt. And instead of us lifting our eyes up, we hang our head down. We allow ourselves to feel defeat. We allow ourselves to just be consumed in hurt, in bitterness, in anger. And instead, I'm just asking today that we change the way that we approach these things and instead learn to lift your head, to look to the hills, because there's help there. And your help is going to come from the Lord. But you got to look to the hills. Sometimes we look to other people, and those other people at times make us feel worse than what we already did. It's like some people go through a breakup, and we talk to people instead of talking to God. And we'll be saying, I'm so hurt right now. And they be like, well, I told you so. Or they might say, girl, I don't understand why you invested that much time in that person anyway. I would have been gone, okay? It's so many negative reactions that we could get to a simple conversation such as that. And what I'm saying is, instead of you wallowing in it, instead of you seeking other people about it, learn to lift your head up and look to the hills. Because if you look to the hills, that's going to be where your help is. So when we start looking to the hills, instead of us hearing things that's going to bash you, things that's going to make you feel worse than what you already did, you're going to hear things such as, trust in me. Don't look at that situation. I understand. You know what I mean? But if you look to me, put your focus on me. Change your approach. You start praying about certain things. At times when you want to say something, you might hear, don't even waste your breath. Or don't say nothing. Just look towards me. I'm going to take care of it. Don't worry about it. Because the word says vengeance is mine anyway. So why are you trying to take it upon yourself? Because you ain't learned yet to look towards the hills. It's so much easier when you learn to look towards the hills. It's so much easier when you learn to trust God. To trust Him, in the middle of crisis, in the middle of all things breaking loose, all bad things breaking loose in your life. I've gone through so many things, and had I not learned to look to the hills, I don't know how things would have went. I really honestly can't tell you. because I just know where my help has always come from. Whether it been a breakup, whether it been a divorce, whether it been a loss of a job, whether it been a loss of a child, a miscarriage or something, whether it had been, whatever. Honestly, it's been so many different things. I could go on and on. But I had to learn a long time ago to stop looking at myself, to stop trusting in people. That's been the biggest thing, because to be honest, I grew up in a family where, something go down, you want to talk to them. You want to talk to them, you want their advice, you want them to tell you what you not to do, what you should do. Now, you may not always listen, and a lot of times maybe you did, but, it was a choice. At the end of the day, it was a suggestion, and sometimes you listened, sometimes you didn't. Sometimes you acted, sometimes you didn't, and it took a long time for me to learn that, yeah, they want what's best for me. Yeah, a lot of times they might have had some very good advice, but they didn't know God's plans. They didn't know, what He had planned for me. And when you don't know what God has planned for someone else, you may tell them something and it may hurt that person's destiny. It may. It may hurt the way that person approaches things. Jeremiah 29, it says that, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." So here you have God. He knows the plans He has for you. He knows, His plan is to prosper you, not to harm you, and to give you hope and a future. Who knows the future other than God? Nobody does. Nobody can tell you your future. Yeah, someone can dictate your future. Yeah, you might get somebody who can go in and tell you what they see. But at the end of the day, don't you really want to know the true plan for your life? Like, don't you really want to consult the Creator? I mean, if nobody knows your plans, God knows. And nobody knows like He does. Someone else can implement their plans for you, and they may not mean you any good. They could plan for your harm, plan for your downfall, plan for everything that God had set before you to go left. But until you learn to be in submission with God and allow Him to dictate His plans for your future and to roll with the way He wants you to roll, do things the way He wants you to do, you're going to constantly go through something. You're going to constantly be asking other folks, what do you think? What do you suggest? And I'm not telling you that it's bad to seek godly counsel, because the word tells us to, but I'm saying at the end of the day, who knows you better than God Himself? See, He knows your secret places. He knows the way you think. He knows, your heart. He knows things other people may not know about you. You know, some people got this front, and the way that people look at them is like they think they're so mean, or they think that they're so full of, hate, and there's no love in their hearts. But that very person may be full of love. They may be full of joy. They may be full with just nothing but goodness. And nobody else will be able to see it unless God allowed them to. Nobody else is going to be able to see it but Him. He sees straight through all that cockiness. He sees straight through all that bitterness, that anger, that, all that little face that you put on. He sees past all that, and He sees the real you. He knows you more than probably you know you. I'm pretty sure more than you know you, and knows what's best for you. Sometimes, you think you know what's best for you. Sometimes we go after things that we want. I want this in my life. I want that. I want this. I want that. And you go for it, and you might get it. And then when you get it, you might realize or figure out that you really didn't think, you thought you wanted it, but once you got it, you realize you don't really want it. Maybe somebody comes into your life because you see them and they look a certain way and they smell a certain way, and then when you get them, you find out this person ain't nothing like you thought they were. Well, there's the plans. What is God's plan? Is that His plan for your life? Or did He have something better? Maybe He has something that didn't look like what you thought looked good. And maybe they were a little bit different than the person that you was asking for or desiring. But they may have, had you got with that person, they may have leveled you out a little bit. Maybe they might have you on a road to success. You know what I'm saying? A road to where God wanted you on. Maybe spiritual high or something. Maybe they led you to God. Maybe they would have led you to God. Maybe. But because you wanted what you wanted, it led you away. It led you to alcohol. It led you to abuse. It led you to everything that's of the world instead of everything that's in God. Maybe. Maybe. And so I just want you to really take this into consideration, to allow yourself to not put your trust in man, not even really put your faith and trust in yourself, but more so the will of God for your life. Ask Him, Lord, what do you want? Should I give up on this? What direction should I go into? Is this for me? And He'll never give you the wrong answer if you really just seek Him diligently. Pray. And prayer tends to go, you don't have to say, oh, Father, Lord. Prayer is a conversation, and it's sincere, and it's with your heart, and you have to know that God, He hears you, and He knows exactly what you think, and He knows exactly what you need, and He's going to answer. So shift who you talk to, shift the way you're thinking, and allow God to give you the answers. Thanks for listening.